Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome. Here we are. It's day 14 together, and maybe you've been with us each day or whatever days you can manage. And I really just want to begin by saying, hurrah for you, sincerely. A big hurrah, cheers, for each day you've been able to come and join and balance your energies. And here we are again, going for it another time. And maybe today you might experience something new, a deeper balance that you've never experienced before. So really opening to that possibility. Okay, we're going with the 4 thumps to begin. So here on stomach meridian, below your eyes. And do you notice anything at this area this morning? Sometimes these points can be sore, so you can play around a little bit. If you go below the eyes, the points are here, but then you could move around a little bit also. And then, of course, using several fingers if you prefer. And you might notice anywhere in this region having a bit of soreness. Strictly speaking, the stomach pathway is coming down and it actually loops around your face. So sometimes sort of soreness around the sides, below the eyes, on the face, can be clues for you, can give you an indication of what's happening in your energies. Okay, let's go below the collarbone now, onto the kidney 27 point. Just like the stomach point, sometimes here people can be sore, particularly if you've had a late night, you're burning the candle at both ends, because the kidney meridian governs the adrenals. So when the adrenals are tasked, when there's more for the adrenals to do, then that can affect the overall vitality within your kidney meridian. So anytime you're feeling tired, please, one more. Apologies for moving in and out. I'm just trying to avoid any background noise. Let's go into the thymus, middle of the chest. And as we talked about yesterday, this is another exercise you can play with in lots of ways. Most of the exercises we're doing can be modified, and you can make small adjustments to make them right for you and doing what feels right for you. So yesterday afternoon, I was on a school run collecting my nephews from school, and I was sitting in the car doing some exercises, and I found that actually using my fist, I was using both fists and really going for it like this. And that felt really amazing. But I must say, it doesn't feel amazing doing it in the morning, doing it that way. So I share that as a tip for you. Try it different ways, and also at different times of day, you might notice a difference. The final thump is the spleen thump. So about halfway down the rib cage. Yesterday, someone I was chatting with was asking me about the location here, and we were talking about how it's at the bra line, which I don't always say because sometimes there will be men joining these groups, and of course most of the time men are not wearing bras. But then again, as women, sometimes we're not wearing bras either. So let's take a little bit longer tap here. You can go further with your spleen energies, and I will briefly mention that wearing a bra with a wire can sometimes cause a lot of congestion in the energies. And I remember back sort of 10 odd years ago when I used to wear a wired bra, and at the end of the day, coming home, oh, it was the best feeling. I'm sure some of you ladies would agree. It was an amazing feeling taking my bra off at the end of the day. And then when I became more aware of energy as time passed, and more aware of how things were flowing in my body and my energies, I took the decision to not wear a wired bra anymore. And over a period of several months, I phased them out and slowly bought new bras, non-wired. And They are available in all different styles and also sizes, because as women we all have different breasts and there's lots of different choices out there. And I actually have a document, in fact. So if any of you are listening to this and it resonates, please drop me an email, because I put together just a little sheet of places and just links to places where you could look, just to make it a bit easier, because sometimes people decide they want to make that transition and it can be a bit overwhelming. All right, so relax your arms down, let them hang naturally, and checking in with yourself, noticing how you're feeling. We did a bit longer with the spleen points there, so if you are noticing anything that feels a bit different, then it's possible that may well be to do with new balance in your spleen energies. So it's really worth noticing and then seeing what would happen if on future occasions, maybe this afternoon or tomorrow, you do your spleen points for longer as well. Let's go to crossovers now. So the cross crawl is where you alternate lifting a leg up, tapping with your hands, and you could see what it's like tapping with your elbow, perhaps tapping in other places other than your knee. Now slowing the crossing down, and we're going to go to crossover shoulder pulls. So sweeping from each shoulder to the opposite hip several times. And how is this feeling for you today? Maybe you might want to really slow it down. And after crossing, we're going to make sure that we are all unscrambled. So let's do the Wayne Cook. Crossing a leg over the other, and then your arms and palms out, crossing your arms, clasping your fingers, bringing them underneath, and taking several deep breaths here. If your mind is wandering, doing your best to stay present with how you're feeling. Remembering that this exercise can be, at times, a really powerful one for people. There are a small percentage of people that really, really, really need this one. So as you're holding here now, what do you notice? And could it be that maybe this might be an exercise that is really needed for you? We're going to switch and do the same thing on the other side. So crossing your legs the other way. You could cross your arms the other way if you'd like. But the key with this particular exercise is crossing your legs. And then there are some people who, if you just do one side of the body, that might be enough. So don't worry if you perhaps start and do one side and then the doorbell rings or the phone rings and you end up only just doing one side. Okay, we're going to end the Wayne Cook with this pyramid position. So fingers and thumbs together, resting your thumbs above your nose and taking a breath here. And then resting your fingers on your forehead and sliding over, using whatever pressure feels right. And then giving your hands a little shake. And notice how you're feeling, having unscrambled your energies. Let's go on to the crown pull. So starting near the front of your head and making these wonderful stretching movements Oops, raking with your fingertips. And if you reach any spots that are particularly sore, I do recommend stretching a few more times there, perhaps increasing the pressure. It's really up to you. So if there's any pain, which on occasion maybe there might be, then do go gently and listen to your body. But certainly with headaches, the crown pull is a real gem to know. And depending on what's happening in your energies that might be underlying a headache, you might find through doing one or perhaps several really firm, purposeful, mindful crown pulls, visualizing that space being created, can make all the difference in the world. And of course, there are other things in your energies that might be going on with headaches. So you could try things like rubbing a stainless steel spoon, if you know about that, or rubbing selenite, which is excellent for absorbing stuck energy. So lots of ways to potentially work with headaches, which I thought I'd mention since I mentioned it. But lots of crown pulls is definitely a good place to begin. Now we're going to zip up. So coming to your pubic bone, breathing in and bringing your hands all the way up, zipping up your central meridian and beyond. And then on the out breath, touching the edges of your aura, helping it to stay expanded as you lower. And then repeating that several times. And you can go at your own pace. Don't feel like you have to follow me exactly. Sometimes it can be nice to do this quicker. And then for anyone who's newer to energy medicine and maybe you feel your zip up is not very robust and resilient yet, then the chances are going slowly will be the best for you, in which case you don't combine it with your breath, because otherwise you'll be holding your breath for ages, but really coming up the midline, perhaps even slower than I'm going right now. And next time you come up central meridian, ending at your lips, turning your hands to lock that in. And now we'll do the hook up. So with your middle fingers creating a bit of pressure here and doing the pressure that feels right for you. Might be a bit less or more than yesterday. Remembering your breath. Your breath is always a wonderful thing to remember while doing energy balancing, because that breath and that flow of air will be one of the things that helps facilitate the energy movement. It's a bit like greasing wheels and making the wheels turn a bit smoother and easier. And it's so easy for us to not breathe in the fullest way and to sometimes have many seconds where there's not much happening with the breath. There's some mindful breaths here. Perhaps bringing your attention to the central and governing meridian pathways at the front and the back of your body. These are certainly places where you might feel a change in your energies. And let's relax out of that hook up. Give your arms, shoulders, elbows, hands a shape, whatever feels right. And let's do the alternate hook up that I shared yesterday. See how this one feels for you today, where you put a hand at your power point. So at the big dip, at the top of your neck, and then also at your tailbone. And you can either pull up in both directions, or at the hand at your tailbone, it might feel better to stretch downwards. And I encourage you to stay present with yourself. Notice how this one feels. I have heard many times over the years people say to me, wow, I could really feel that hook up on the back, and I don't normally feel it so much at the front. Okay, let's relax out of that one. Remember, you can do the hookups for much longer. You can combine different hookups as well, and it can be really, really fantastic. But we are going to do Connecting Heaven and Earth now. So this one starts in a prayerful position, and then do feel free to go at your own pace if you'd like, breathing in and getting a stretch. And when you're ready, you breathe out, come back to the middle, and then stretch on the other side. And doing a second time on each side of the body as well. Then bending forwards on your last out breath and really doing your best to let everything go here. Use your breath to help you as you breathe out, really letting that air out. And if you wanted to, you could see what it feels like to send that air and send energy all the way down the back of your body, past your buttocks, down the back of your thighs, all the way to your ankles and feet. And bringing your attention there and the energy there can help to open up even more space sometimes. And now let's come back to the starting position. So raising up and using your arms to make figure eights. You could do small ones or big ones, whatever feels right. And then let's add in a few more eights. And maybe you'd like to come right to the edge of your aura, so the seventh layer, stepping out a bit and coming in, and reaching and stepping a bit, and really having that intention of I am creating a robust, tightly knitted together and weaved aura to keep me well contained. But I don't mean that in a negative respect. Solid, strong, protected for the whole day. Let's do the Celtic weave, which is one of the ways that you can achieve this in your energies. So with a Celtic weave, usually we begin by rubbing the hands together, shaking them off. It's a great way of releasing excess energy. Cleaning your hands, which are your tools for moving energy, before you weave your aura. Now, when you rub them together again, you may notice it feels a bit different. Possibly you may notice warmth, tingling, and the energy's being built up, and then opening your hands, and you might feel something at your palms or between your hands. Perhaps visualizing a big ball of energy there, fresh energy, which you will now bring up to bathe your head in this fresh energy. And now let's weave. So breathing in and crossing at the front, and then coming out when you breathe out and going down your body. Perhaps visualizing big figure eights being created as you bring your arms in and out, and then rolling up your aura as you come back up. Where would you like to roll your aura today? It's quite natural to do it in front of you because that's the natural place where your arms are, in front of you. But maybe you might ask yourself, if I knew where would be for my highest benefit to roll up and fluff my aura right now, where would that be? And maybe a word popped into your head. It might be sides, it might be feet, it might be nose, in which case roll up your aura at your nose, and you could do smaller or bigger movements, slower or faster movements. It's really up to you and what feels good for you. If you have any injuries, I often say to people, if you stubbed a toe, or if you've ever had any particular surgeries, especially recently, when we've had a surgery, almost always we end up with holes in the aura, like a spacesuit that's got a hole in it. So what we're doing now in these circular movements can be one of the best things to help to fix holes in the aura. All right, bringing your arms down to hang just however they want to, checking in with yourself, maybe scanning from head to toe, noticing how you're feeling. Okay, let's go on to the radiant circuit. How are you feeling in terms of joy this morning? If you were to rate yourself out of 10, with 10 being the most joyful you think you could be, and then 0 is really feeling quite flat, low, anxious, just not good, whatever that means for you. And then just popping yourself, placing yourself somewhere along that scale. There's no right or wrong number here, and it's just for you inside yourself. And as we move through the radiant circuits, you might notice that changes. So let's see. We're starting with belt flow. So belt flow starts round at the back. So just from where's comfortable, you don't have to reach really far because we're all different, with your shoulders and things, you might not want to reach as more. You come over 3 or 4 times, and then you smooth that energy all the way down the side of your leg and off your foot. Let's do this side, going around, noticing, does this side feel any different perhaps? And then smoothing all the way down your leg and off your foot. And next is penetrating flow. So belt flow and penetrating flow both work in this middle region of the body and relate to the Ming Men point. So Ming Men is right behind your belly button. It's a very important point in the body. Sometimes just holding here can be a really lovely thing to do. Let's take a breath in now to begin tracing. And when you breathe out, smoothing down a few inches, lowering, and then on the in-breath you come up and round your hips, breathing out, going down to your pubic bone, and then you breathe in and come up the midline, up central meridian, and tracing some figure 8s at your mouth to close. Now onto the bridge flows. So for the in-bridge, we begin in the power point at the top of the back of the neck, smoothing your hands up and over onto your forehead. What comes to mind, so I will share it, is a wonderful thought actually for radiant circuits, which is I am love. So just holding on these calming points here on your forehead. And that truly was an unplanned, totally spontaneous thought I had, and just felt really right to share. And the radiant circuits, they are all about joy and peace. When people have spontaneous healings and have radical experiences like that, it's usually a radiant circuit event. So continuing and maybe bringing in this idea of I am love. And although to some people it might sound a little bit like a greeting card, like a card with a cheesy little message inside it, I do mean it in the most sincere, wholehearted way. And I think above all and underneath all and around all, what everything in life really comes back to is love. So perhaps now continuing radiant circuits as you trace these hearts, thinking that thought, I am love, and smoothing the energy all the way down the front of your body and off your feet. And it's Yang Bridge next, where we do the horizontal 8s. So building up a little bit of a wall here. And then we're going to receive those 8s at the back of the body. So it's up to you whether you turn around or you could just visualize and continue tracing the 8s for the back of your body. And we're going to support the connection between the front and the back with figure 8s. And how is this one feeling? Sometimes while you're doing an exercise, actually drawing it, you might suddenly notice like a ping of, wow, that feels good. So how is this one this morning? Or maybe it's more neutral for you, and that's okay as well. We are going to do the last radiant circuits, which are yin and yang regulator. You do have 4 others, by the way, that we don't often trace in this way. These are hybrids that are also meridians, but the ones we're doing together now, these are sort of core radiant circuits from Chinese medicine. So yin and yang regulator help to regulate everything in your body. For yin regulator, tracing a heart on a stick, then coming down your arms, smoothing to your elbows. And again, now you smooth all down the front of your body and off your feet. Now for yang regulator, smoothing around your ears. And again, down the arms to your elbows. This time, as it's yang, it's the back of your body. So smoothing all the way down the back. And for the vagus nerve, resting one hand on your lower belly, your other hand at your neck. Taking deep breaths here as you allow your vagus nerve energies to balance. And taking in a little bit of light language at the same time. Yakasi Suna Sheana Ukia Ti Siai Kioflese Shonata Shidua Kana Sikon Shuka Alla Tene Si A Sukana Fila Ishoka Shuakiana Tiana Wasa. Take several deep breaths and notice how that light language is landing in your energetic being today. And just really sitting or standing and noticing those feelings. The light language can sometimes change frequencies quite a lot, sometimes in a short space of time. Let's find a sacred rebel card with a message for the day. I don't know if I've ever pulled this one. This is absolutely glorious. The message is softly, softly, a tender touch. I'll just hold this here for a moment to allow you to really have a look at that picture there and to consider what that message might mean for you. Softly, softly, with a tender touch. Okay, so blessings on your day to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining in today. And we still have a week to go on the challenge. Remember, everything's on YouTube, so you can go back and watch any that you'd like to. Feel free to share those links with anyone else. And I do wish you a glorious day. See you tomorrow.